Good morning, CSL Simi Valley. Good to have you here this morning for our VERT service. And those of you that are visiting from anywhere that you might be, we're welcome to what we do here, where the virtual sphere meets the church world and comes together. And that's why we call it VERT. It's hard to keep the smile, but I love that song. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Spirit. It reminds me that it's all God. It's always God showing up, and there's always an expression of love trying to unfold, and there are many times that's a hard idea to hold on to, particularly when we go back into this struggle that will not let this nation go. Our deep, deep wound is being called out to be healed. This week, it's Kenosha, Wisconsin. Last night, it was Portland, Oregon. The violence that is taking place while we exercise our First Amendment rights in this nation is causing destruction and heartbreak coast to coast worldwide, right here in our own community. We've got to continue to do the work. It's so interesting that the science of mind believes in oneness, this whole idea that is life itself. So much so that last year when our steering committee got together to look at what kind of talks we could do throughout the year, trying to bring a little continuity throughout the Science of Mind and Center for Spiritual Living community, they came up with some themes. And the August theme was inclusion in action. We conclude that this week talking about inclusion in action and including all of us in the action it takes to let love be the impulse for everyone's activity in the world. That's what we do here at CSL Simi Valley. That's why we have the vision and the mission statement that we have, that we share each week to remind us of what is ours to do, how powerful we are in that doing, and how we are called to bring others into the fold. Not necessarily to make them religious scientists, because Dr. Holmes didn't want that. What he wanted was for anyone to have a faith-based idea in their mind, to deepen that, and he thought that the science of mind would be a way to go about that, a way to investigate whatever your theology is, whatever your faith-based system is, or even if you don't have one. But the idea that we can use our minds and positive thought to create and unfold the world that we desire to have is a powerful idea, a truthful idea that's being backed up by science, psychology, and our own experiences, which is why they used to call the prayers answered, they didn't call them demonstrations like we call them, they called them experientials, because it was the experience of life being made manifest. So we do that as we live this message right here. Join me as we do this together. We're community, inclusive, loving, and authentic. We celebrate all paths to God in gratitude, empowering self and others. We serve compassionately through outreach, inspiration, and education. That's who we are. That's why we're here. And here's what we do.
Hi, this is Diane Klimzak coming to you from the beautiful Sinaloa Villas. You know, villas where we had our Christmas in July, at the building that looks like a church that isn't a church. Unfortunately, we didn't have it this year, but I can promise you, if things are where we can have gatherings, I will have it next year there, and we will have more fun than we did last year, if that's possible. Also, you know me as the person that puts together the New to Me and the Holiday Boutique. For some reason, I'm not getting the feeling we're going to be having that this year either, that we won't be back to having more than several people or a limited amount of people in the church by that time. So if you happen to have found some things this year while you were cleaning out, while you were in lockdown, please tuck them away, and we will ask for them when we have the information or when we need to put the stuff together for the next sale. Who knows, we might have a spring sale if we're back in the center with a full amount of people attending, and we can have a full group of people, and that might be something we could do. Anyways, I just wanted to say I miss all of you, and I'm sure everybody misses each other, because it's not too nice being in lockdown with just my dog, because she can get on your nerve, you know? Puppies are not as much fun as I remember them to be. Anyways, welcome to our live VERT service. We're here each week sharing a service with family and friends locally and around the country. And I'm pleased to report from around the world. That's right, around the world. And click the share button so we can invite even more. The more, the merrier. No one need feel isolated or alone at this time. Virtue's for everyone, and that's a way we stay together while apart. The morning worship celebration service will be available on our YouTube channel at CSL Simi Valley later today. The center's website, cslsimi.org, also has a link to our archived services. If you need to binge watch something, what better to binge than our services? And I know you'll enjoy them. This week's Wednesday night experience starts off with a little movement from the spirit for the spirit and the body. Join us at 5:30 for Yoga with Debbie. She calls it spiritual yoga. Yoga for everyone, a workout for your soul. Here's the Zoom information for yoga. Meeting ID 878-5693-8671, and the passcode is 253932. The Wednesday night experience continues at 7 o'clock for the Simi Community Salon, a sharing of hearts through the arts. The September theme, in line with Labor Day, is work. Your hosts, Dorothy Morgan and Reverend Johanna, invite you to share your thoughts, insights, poetry, music, fine arts, or other creative areas inspired by this month's theme, work. That's Wednesday, September 2nd, 7 p.m. for the Simi Community Salon. The link for this month's salon is 832-870-2651. Before you join the meeting, please make sure to type in your name so that your hosts will know who you are and they will bring you out of the waiting room. We wouldn't want you to be one of those trolls. However, we are a community that's all-inclusive, so we probably would invite you in if you promise to be good. September, as we know, is the traditional back-to-school month. Like so many students, CSL Simi's adult learners will head back to the class via Zoom. Reverend Patrick Harbula is debuting a brand new curriculum called Journey of the Soul, beginning Tuesday, September 8th at 6 p.m. For more information on the upcoming class, here's Reverend Patrick.
So excited to tell you about this new class coming up. So I spent a better part of the summer updating and improving the Magic of the Soul curriculum, what was the Magic of the Soul curriculum, which has now become a core class for Centers for Spiritual Living called The Journey of the Soul. So as many of you know, the book was taught by originally Religious Science International for about 7 years and CSL for the last 10 years. And it's been so popular that they asked me to revise it and update it. And so it includes everything that was in the original class, or almost everything, but even more importantly, the techniques, the practices that I've learned and integrated and been teaching for the last 17 years as well, that I didn't have when I wrote the book. So it's going to be great fun. If you haven't done a Zoom class, by the way, it's very intimate. It's very fun. Some of my class participants, I've been teaching classes over the summer, say it's even more intimate than in class because every person that's talking is right in front of you. So it's going to be very interactive, more interactive than the old curriculum, and great fun, and definitely transformational and magical. So hope you come to join us. It's going to be a great time, and love you guys. Love to connect. See you soon. Bye.
School is getting underway for the younger folks too. Still, many parents may be looking for support for those younger, eager minds, and our own Dr. Susan is at the ready with Play and Learn with Dr. Susan. Lessons are posted to our YouTube channel, CSL Simi Valley. You can also watch Dr. Susan live on Sunday streaming at 9:30 through the CSL Simi website. Now, also, if your inner child needs to come out and play, Dr. Susan is the one to play with. She has so many great ideas, and they're quite easy. And I've always enjoyed all the things she's always come up with. Okay, I just admitted my inner child plays with Dr. Susan. Don't tell her. But it's a lot of fun. And Bella decided she needed to come out here and say hello to everyone. So that's Bella. So if you hear heavy breathing, it's not me. There's been plenty of time for contemplation and reflection over the past 5 months with Corona quarantine. If you have some thoughts or insights you'd like to share with the community, record a short video of yourself, a video selfie. Be creative, be inspired, have fun. Send your clip to Reverend Stephen at Rev Stephen, that's STEPHEN, at CSL-SemiValley.org for inclusion in our Sunday Virch service. Many thanks to all of you who have maintained your regular giving while we've been apart. To our new friends and visitors, while we welcome your donations, we really want you to sit back and enjoy getting to know and become part of our community. All of those who want to give a love offering can use the donate button on our website, CSL-SEMI.org, or try our new text to give feature. Text the word give, G-I-V-E, to 805-600-5677. That's 805-600-5677. Following the service, Dr. Susan will be standing by at the church office to accept tithes over the phone. We are extremely grateful for your support. At this time of physical separation has not been easy on any of us, which is why CSL-SEMI staff practitioners and ministers are available to provide emotional and spiritual support. Reach out to them for prayer or any questions you may have. You can email or you can call the church office. Welcome to all of you viewing from wherever you are. Thanks for spending the morning with us. And now, get ready to sing along with our friends Floyd Lula. Here's Gary Floyd and Jamie Lula with In the Name of Love.
Hey, Simi Valley, we're grateful that you're here. This is from Floyd Lula.
We love you. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. In the name of love, with a heart of grace, overflow in us and decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, may we always be seeking out the best till we all are free, living in a world we've been dreaming of, where we stand as one in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love, in the name of love, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. 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 Oh yeah. In the name of love. 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 In the name of love.
Peace and blessing. We love you.
The affirmation of the day is, I am a powerful expression of Spirit's beloved community, a unique emanation within the one that is God. Let's do it together. I'm a powerful expression of Spirit's beloved community, a unique emanation within the one that is God. And here's a reading from a book called The Magic of the Soul by somebody or other. When we're able to walk beyond the doorway of our personal identification, we step into a world that is alive with love, splendor, creative power, and profound interconnectedness. We can honor ourselves for our beautiful uniqueness and at the same time recognize and experience ourselves as part of a spiritual dynamic present in everyone and everything. If God is everything, then God is you and you are God. You are human, imperfect, evolving, and at the same time, a perfect and divine soul. What a splendid dichotomy. Let's go within. Take a nice deep breath and let out a nice big heartful sigh. Doesn't that feel good? As we exhale, as we release, as we surrender, we simply dissolve into that infinite presence of light and love and freedom and joy, and recognizing that there is no separation between us and the divine. We know that we are the expression of these qualities of the divine in life, in physical form. And so let's see and feel, actually visualize our lives, day to day, moment to moment basis, expressing the magnificence of the divine. And knowing that the magnificence of the divine is what is expressed through this service today, through all of our activities, both as individuals and as a community. Just feeling grateful for all the ways that our community of CSL Simi Valley serves us individually and the community at large. And so giving thanks for still being able to participate in Virch in this way and connect with each other, not only through technology, but heart to heart, mind to mind, spirit to spirit, soul to soul. And so we give thanks for this very sacred moment, for everyone who is present with us and everyone who's part of our community who is not present today. We turn it over to Spirit, and together we say, and so it is.
Hello, Simi Valley. My goodness, it has been a long time. I am Daniel Nahmod, for those of you who I've never met, I've never sung for. Simi Valley, your center, has been a special place for me to visit over the years. One of the very first churches, actually, I ever sang at, back in probably about 1999, with Dennis Merritt Jones and music director Denise Fernald, who, after she heard me sing the morning that I visited, my first time, wrote me a check for $15. And I said, "What's this check for?" And she said, "It's for your CD." And I said, "What CD?" And she said, "The CD you're going to make with that beautiful song on it. I'd like the first copy." I will never forget it. And now all these years later, my 22nd or 23rd, I actually truly have lost count, 22nd or 23rd album has come out just about 6-8 months ago. And what a 6 or 8 months it's been for everybody. And Sherry Deeds contacted me and asked if I would sing for you this Sunday. Super thrilled to do it. And she also specifically requested that I sing this song, which is based on a true story, an actual moment that my wife and I had, a phone call we received from our boy's teacher. I am now a very proud husband and a very proud dad of Jude, who is 8 years old and just started 3rd grade. So this is a song that references a moment we had back in 1st grade, and I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for having me. So nice to be back, at least virtually, to sing for you today. Lately I've been thinking about what motivates me to give a couple dollars to a stranger on the street, to hold the door, carry groceries, help a neighbor in need. When history repeats itself in headlines every day, solutions never big enough for problems that we face. As a man, as a dad, what difference can I make? 'Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a favor or a quarter or a smile. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I can do one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. Sure would help if our boy went and got an MBA and took care of his artist mom and dad in their old age. But let's face it, Wall Street probably isn't in his DNA. But when his 1st grade teacher said she wanted us to know, it's Jude who always comforts any kid who sits alone, there's just so much pride my heart can take. My retirement can wait. Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a fortune or a pension or a prize. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I'll have done one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. I don't want him to think the world is his to save. It's too much pressure anyway, it can't be done. I don't want him to think he has to be a saint, 'cause the truth is saints don't have any fun. Mostly I just hope, my boy, you'll come to understand. No 401k or GPA can make a happy man. It's having roots, doing good, helping out where you can. So put down roots, do some good, take somebody's hand. And you'll know better than most what really matters, what makes living this life worthwhile. And there may come a day your own kids will remember how their granddad used to say with a smile that he raised. We raised a kind child.
It's time for the gap, the God awareness place, that place between thoughts. And so, effortlessly, let's just watch the thoughts and slip into that gap between. It's easy, it's effortless. Just allow and surrender. I'll keep the time, and we'll bring you back in 3 minutes. Enjoy this sacred space. Welcome back. Didn't that feel good? Just enjoying sacred space together. And so we encourage you to continue and deepen your meditation practice. And if you need any support, contact me, contact Reverend Steve, or any of our practitioners or ministers. So what a blessed day, and we will see you back in a few moments.
When I first sang at the center in Simi Valley, I was very, very single and lived in a little rent-control apartment in West Hollywood. Now, my wife and little boy and puppy Gigi and I live in this house in Orange County, and we moved into over Thanksgiving, and it was definitely a fixer-upper project from the beginning. It's a 50-year-old house and needs lots of work. And you know what? I've gotten kind of decent at some drywall work and some demo work and starting to do a little bit of framing, and I've dabbled very badly in electricity, which probably doesn't sound like a great idea. But there's something I've discovered about improving a home, and that is, even if you know how you want it to look at the end, the first task is usually not diving right in with hammer and nail and wood and tile or whatever to make it beautiful. The first task is usually to remove the old and the outdated and the worn out and the expired. And I find the same thing to be true sometimes with myself, and with me discovering how good I can be and doing my best work and loving as big as I can love is sometimes about diving in, singing out loud, sometimes about getting started with the job. But a lot of the time, the first task is to identify that which has held me back, misunderstandings, misperceptions, things that have misled me or stopped me. Sometimes unlearning and unbecoming is the way to learn and become my best. This is a song on that subject. I hope you enjoy. It isn't like I've always wondered what I was made of, or is this really me? I've only recently discovered I've always stood in the shadows of expectations of me. Well, now that I see there's no judge, there's no jury. Now that I know I can take my own road, I feel a freedom that I have never known. It's about unbecoming what I never was. It's about unlearning what was never true. It's about unbelieving all the lies that I've been told. Unbecoming is the story of my soul. Everybody's name is given. Nobody asks us who we really are. But after so many years of living, you wouldn't think the answer would still feel so far. I'm slow, I'm smart, I'm accounting, I'm art, I'm left brain or right, I'm a morning person or night. Well, maybe it's time to step outside those lights and see who I find. 'Cause it's about unbecoming what I never was. It's about unlearning what was never true. It's about unbelieving all the lies that I've been told. Unbecoming is the story of my soul. The scariest thing is offending, disappointing everyone's vision. I should be, but the only way home is to fly on my own till I know, till I see. It's about unbecoming what I never was. It's about unlearning what was never true. It's about unbelieving all the lies that I've been told. Unbecoming is the story of my soul. Unbecoming is coming home. Thanks.
Thank you, Daniel. Oh, I'm over here. There I am. Thank you, Daniel. Wow. Unbecoming. And thank you for the announcements from Diane and Patrick for your prayers and really, really, totally those songs, Daniel, the to become a kind child. Can we all be the kind child that we came here to be? Can we unbecome? Can we step outside the lines and begin to unbelieve? Begin to unforget. Begin to remember who we really are. That who we truly are is beloved. Beloved are we. Beloved are we. We are the beloved of the divine. The beloved and the beloved. What a fun word. Dearly beloved. I think it's when it's a noun, it's beloved, and when it's an adjective, it's beloved. We are a member of the beloved community because we are the beloved. But it doesn't really matter. I think that Merriam-Webster or Dictionary.com or Oxford Dictionary, all of them say beloved or beloved, same thing. But I tend to find that one would say dearly beloved. You know, like when you go to the service, right? Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today, right? So they're the loved ones. We are Spirit's beloved community. Beloved are we. And that's the message to hold today, particularly if we're looking at our times today, which seem to be so divisive, where some are thinking, no, you're not beloved and you're not of the beloved, but we are all beloved. Beloved are we. We are all Spirit's community. Spirit loves each and every one of us. That's why Dr. Holmes talks about the self-givingness of the divine. The self-givingness, that God itself is all that there is. This thing itself, as Dr. Holmes calls it, all that is life. And all that is life has given its power, its sustenance, all of its blessings to each and every one of us individualized. We are of the divine. We are of that love. We are that beloved. And nature reminds us always that whenever we look around, this morning I was out on my morning walk and there was a hawk that was so involved in its prey that I was able to walk right up on it. I startled it actually because it was so busy dining this morning that it didn't even notice me. And to see that and to see what looks like death but is actually the continuation of life taking place right there. Nature reminding that there's an animating spirit in each and every one of us, that there is a presence diffused through all of us. There's a love and a law that is governing the very actions of our lives, a principle underlying everything that which you can stand on, a unity that's sustaining all things, that's holding everything in place. This is the science of mind teaching. This is what we have come to understand is the way life works, the way this thing called life works. In a wonderful book called Know Thyself, Dr. Holmes says that we live and have our being not by virtue of an isolated life, by reason of a universal livingness which permeates all. Now listen to that. By a universal livingness which permeates all. Permeates all. We are not an individualized life isolated by ourselves. And we are in this larger community, this beloved community of which we are all a part. And this is the message of today, to hold on to that everything is a part of the great whole. Nothing is separated from it. You know, in the book of ages, in the book of time, there's a story that's told. All good stories start off with once upon a time. So once upon a time, there was this knight who had become wise with all the years of his knight activities. And he had decided that he had become tired of war. I heard from Mark Nepo. Reverend Johanna and I were watching a Mark Nepo workshop yesterday, and he said that the root of the word war is to mix up, to create confusion. Well, this knight had gotten tired of war. He had got tired of mixing up communities. He had gotten tired of confusion. He was weighted down by this. So he had given up, and he was coming back to his kingdom to say, we need to try this in a different way. And on his way back, he had run out of food. He was feeling hungry, and he was going into a village where he thought, you know, as a knight for this community, for this kingdom, I'm sure that I'll be able to get some food in this village. Someone will likely be willing to feed me. And as he was thinking about this, his horse threw him. And he was like, what happened here? And he looks down, and apparently the horse had tripped over a stone. And so the knight took his sword, and he dug up the stone. And as he dug it up, he realized it was beautiful. It was almost perfectly round. It had this sort of iridescent look to it. It looked like a gemstone almost. And so he cleaned it, and he polished it. And he said, instead of tossing it aside, he put it in his saddlebag, and he kept riding on into the town. And he gets into the town, and when he gets there, he sees a woman out in front of her home, and he says, I'm wondering if there's room at your table tonight for a night, for a dinner. And she says, I'm sorry, the harvest was really, really bad. We have to save all our food for our kids. No, there's no room for you. So he goes to the next village, and there's a guy out working on his wagon wheel. And he says to him, I'm wondering if you might spare a little food tonight at your dinner table for a knight who's been out at war. And he goes, no. There were no rains. There were no rains at the end of the harvest. The harvest was terrible. All my grain, everything I have to save for my family, for my kids. He's like, what's going on? And then he closed the door, and he noticed as he kept going by other houses, people were closing their shutters and locking their doors. And he thought, this is not the town this is not the kingdom I know. What has happened? What has caused this division? And it was a sense of lack. It was a sense of ownership that this is mine and I have to hold on to it, And he sat down and he thought, what am I going to do? First off, I'm starving. I'm hungry. My tummy's growling. What am I going to eat? What am I going to do? And he had an idea. So he reached into his saddlebag, and he held up the stone, and he announced from the town square, I have a magical stone here that I can use to make soup. And people were peeking out. They're like, what? What's this guy talking about? What? And they all gather and says, yes, I can make soup from this stone. Stone soup. You may have heard the story. Stone soup, he says. And the little boy says to his mom, that looks like just one of the rocks out there in the field. And the mom says, don't no, sometimes things that have magic in them don't look like they have magic in them. Sometimes things that have magic in them don't look like they have magic in them. So some of the knight says, hey, I need a nice big pot. And so they bring out a big pot. He says, let's fill it with water. And they fill it with water. He says, let's put a fire under it. And he puts the stone in the fire, in the water. It begins to boil. And he sniffs it and he says, this stone soup would be so much better with some salt and some pepper. And a couple kids run off and they go get the salt and pepper. And he peppers and salt and he goes, this is good, but it'd be really great if I maybe had some carrots in it. And the little girl says, oh, I think I could get some carrots. And her mother says, yeah, there's a couple carrots. And she runs back to her house. She comes back with some carrots. And he's cutting up the carrots and he's saying, this stone soup here, if a cabbage or two would be really great for this. And a young man says, I think I know where I can rustle up some cabbages. And he takes off. He comes back with not one, not two, but 4 cabbages and throws them into the soup. And now he's cutting up the onions. He brought some onions with him. He's cut up the onions and the carrots and the cabbage and put it all in the soup. And he says, the knight says, I was once in a kingdom where a very rich man helped me make my stone soup, and he brought a piece of beef and some potatoes, and some people off to the side started thinking, if we had a little beef and some potatoes, we could eat like a rich man. So they go off, and so sure enough, somebody shows up with some beef and some potatoes, and they put that in the soup, and now they're sitting there, they're eating like a rich man. And before long, people are bringing out tables and chairs, and the kids are bringing out utensils, and they all sit down, and there's a joy rising up in the community. They come together, and they sit down together, and they have this marvelous meal, and they bring out the fiddles, and the wine starts to show up, and they party till the late hours of the night. Why? Not because of stone soup. Because community has magic in it. Community has strength in it. We are the beloved community, and we have strength in us. We have a stone of the divine, a rock solid inner truth that we can use our capacity there to share. We have an ability within us to share our blessings like the knight encouraged the town to do. We have a power within us when pulled together, when remembered, when we begin to unbecome all the things we think we are and to become the truth that we really are. We have a power there that can stagger the stars, that can rock the universe, shake it on its foundation, but we must accept the understanding that we have this power. Dr. Holmes says in this thing called Life, love this book, he says, the power of God within us is like a sleeping giant which must be awakened that it may spring into action. The power of God within us is a sleeping giant, but it must awaken that it may spring into action. That sleepy giant, that's us. We're groggy giants, we are. We're like mostly awake, kind of like in The Princess Bride, mostly dead, still alive. Remember that scene in The Princess Bride with oh gosh, come on, somebody tell Johanna so he can say it in the post here. I can't think of his name now, but the great comedian. He's so funny. And anyway, he was the wizard. He was the wizard, and he goes in and he says no, and they put Wesley the knight down on the bed. And he says, no, he's just mostly dead. And then he takes the bellows and he puts the bellows in, breathes in, and in that breath, what happens is he pushes down on him and he says, what is so important that you must live? And he says, true love. Well, when you were to push down on all of us, the beloved that we are, and you do the bellows and you push down, the sound that comes out is true self. And the true self is that we are the beloved of the divine. And so we have, yes. Wallace Shawn? Wallace Shawn? No. Oh, Wallace Shawn might have been the, no, it wasn't Wallace Shawn. I think that's Wesley. Anyway, well, I can see his face. Billy Crystal! Yay! Woo! Tangents are tough sometimes. Billy Crystal. But here, what he tells us in that scene, what's the metaphysical truth in that scene, is that at the depth of our very breath, there's the truth of who we are. When you push true love, true self, beloved of the divine. See, that's who we are. We're mostly awake to that truth. But as Daniel was saying in that song, we have to get outside the lines and unbecome all the things we thought we've been so that we can touch our soul power. Touch our soul power. And if these words are resonating with you, if these ideas are resonating with you, if the Science of Mind teaching is resonating with you, it's because you have awakened to this soul power. Otherwise, if you hadn't, everything I'd say would be fantasy talk. It'd be like Charlie Brown. Womp, 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 womp. But no, the words are landing on your heart. They're landing on your heart because you know this is true. When you search within yourself, when I search within myself, when I sit and get still and get quiet and listen, I can hear the divine saying, beloved are you. Beloved are we. You see, we get it. We get it. In this teaching, we understand that there are laws that we can use with the power of love to outpicture the great life that we want. Spiritual laws to hold, spiritual laws like love. Mental laws like affirming and declaring the truth of our being. Physical laws like gravity that we can depend upon, like electricity that we can use. And all of these laws work for our good, but they only respond to us. No matter how much we try, they only respond to us in proportion to our conscious acceptance of them. Just like this idea of being the beloved, we can only know that and experience it as we accept it as the truth of our lives, you see. Our mind must take in and embody these ideas. Or as Dr. Holmes says, your mind digest ideas just as your body digests food. We must digest the ideas of truth. We must digest the ideas that we are a divine, loving expression of God. You see, we bring color to life. We're dull without this truth. It's like the magazine that had the picture of the butterfly on the cover, and it was all dull and in black and white colors. But if you were to put your hand on the magazine cover and just hold it there, the warmth of your hand would warm the pigment on the magazine, and the butterfly would break into brilliant color. That's how we are. When we digest these ideas, when we embody these ideas, they're cold until we come into us, until we take those deep understanding that we are the beloved. Then once we get that in there, we warm that idea and it comes to life for ourselves, for the community, for the world. But we must overcome the critical voice. We must overcome the knots that are tied in our stomach that sometimes say, ooh, this doesn't feel right. The knots that say, I'm not this, I'm not good enough, I don't know enough, I'm not powerful enough. Those ideas, those NOTs create KNOTs in our consciousness and block the divine flow from moving forth in our life. We are trying to make a name for ourselves in life so many times. We try to climb to the top of the ladder, to contend for the number one spot, to compete against the other, to criticize and to defy and to alienate and to judge. But the truth is, all those things, we try to make a name for ourselves by doing those things. There's a name we already have, and that is the beloved of God. We don't need to worry about that. We've already been named. There is an eternal and an internal truth to us that is beyond anything external that is happening. Now, the external gets really good as we embody the internal. The external just starts to show up in beautiful ways. This is the kingdom of heaven is yours, and it is my good pleasure to give it to you. But we have to go into heaven. We have to go into the conscious thoughts that are good in order for that to start to happen. The true self, the divine self, emerges as we devise within us that we are the beloved. We are the beloved. But life around us gives us problems and puts us in the way of trying to figure it out. Richard Rohr says, our inability to see the true self, that we are the beloved, our inability to see the true self clearly is like our inability to see air. It is everywhere, and so it is nowhere. Think about that now. We don't see it because it's so obvious, and we're swimming in it. We're a part of it. And so it's all around us, and because it's so much all around us, we feel like it's not around us at all. But the truth is, it is totally around us at all times. And as we embody the community's strength, as we get together to create our magnificent meal of stone soup, right? As we wake up from the grogginess of not understanding that we are totally alive, not mostly alive, we are totally alive, that we have a status that is assured that we are the beloved. We may not see it, but we cannot lose it. And our job is to keep remembering, to keep rejoining, and then to keep expanding this love self. And we really are called for it at this time. We have our cities in turmoil. We have our political structure in turmoil. We have standing on two sides of the Grand Canyon and no way to make a bridge. But this beloved idea that we are all one and strengthened by community is a way to build that bridge. But we must participate, regardless of circumstances. Regardless of circumstances that we see around us, we are community. We are one. Richard Rohr says in The Immortal Diamond, there is something in you that is not touched by coming and going, of up and down, by for or against, by the raucous teams of totally right or totally wrong. We'll do that one more time. Just listen to these words. Let them land on your heart here and on your mind. Think about them. Contemplate this idea that there is something in you that is not touched by coming and going, by up and down, by for or against, by the raucous teams of totally right and totally wrong. Nothing is totally right. Nothing is totally wrong. We're all learning. We're all here expanding. And we're all in this thing together. And we must participate together. It's like the guy who called the new to town, small town. He called the pastor of a church he actually used the phone book. In the story I heard it, but I'm going to update it. He used Yelp, and he saw this church that had like 550 reviews. And he thought, yeah, I think this is where I want to go. So he called the guy up. He called the pastor, and he's speaking to the pastor. And he says, I'd love to come to your church. I'd like to investigate your church, but I want to tell you something. I don't want to be on a service team. I don't want to make coffee. I'm not interested in being an usher. I don't want to take any classes. I'm definitely not going to do announcements. Don't want to be on the audio or the video team. But I'd like to come. The pastor says, oh, you know what? I think I know the perfect church for you. Here, write this address down. Gives him an address. So that Sunday, instead of going to the church with the 531 reviews, he goes to the church the pastor gave him. He drives to it, and as he gets there, he's thinking, there's no cars. What's going on? He finally pulls right up to the address. He looks at the address. He says, am I at the right place? He looks up, and sure enough, he's at the right place. And this particular church is boarded up. It's got a fence around it, and there's no one there because it had been closed because no one had been participating. As part of the beloved community, the beloved are we must participate in order for it to be activated. We must participate. And so that brings me to something I want to share with you. Again, it's the close of our month of inclusion in action. And many centers around our movement today are sharing a pledge about inclusion in action. And I'd like to share that pledge with you right now. And we all take that pledge and hold it in our hearts. We'll also post it this week in the e-blast so that you can see it for later. But we're going to do it together right now. Here it comes. It's called the Statement of Inclusion. I'll read it, but read along with me so we can all do this together. We, the Center for Spiritual Living Simi Valley, are a community of loving hearts and open minds that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for vulnerable, brave conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies, advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees holiness in all life, remains learners and listeners so that we can grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. And we, the Center for Spiritual Living Simi Valley, know that our beloved community is revealed when we love each other well. And so it is. Can we love each other well? Easy to do when we ingest this truth that beloved are we. From that vantage point, it's so easy to love each other well. The work will make sweat come out of your brow, but it is work that we are called to do, that we have the power to do. And the reason you're called to do it and have the power to do it is in our affirmation, because it says, I am a powerful expression of Spirit's beloved community, a unique emanation within the oneness that is God. And as that powerful expression, you can indeed do the work of the beloved community. Thanks. And so it is. And so it shall be as we move now into the time of our healing prayer. During our healing prayer, I will hold the truth for each and every person that is on our virtual service today those that will tune in later today, those that may not have even recognized that they're calling forth something in prayer, for that's how prayer works, because everything already exists in the mind of God. And so by our affirmative acceptance of that, by our ingestion and embodiment of these ideas, they become the reality of our lives. So join me now. As I know and affirm that there is one life, that life is God. That life is my life, your life, and the life of all those that we hold dear in our hearts right here in this moment. And in this moment of prayer, I open myself to become a divine channel of inspiration, speaking the truth for all those that are here together in a collective community, a collective beloved community. And I'm simply knowing that what I speak is what you speak. What I share is what you share. I simply share it from this first person because I know it in my mind, and in knowing it in my mind, the laws of the universe hear that and reflect that back out into the addresses that it is necessary to be made useful for. And those addresses are your names. Those addresses are your ideas. Those addresses are the consciousness that you hold. So as we hold to the truth and accept the truth, it brings about divine right action. It brings about perfect guidance. It brings about inspiration and intuition. It brings about the removal of any lack condition or even lack thought and replaces it with prosperity and abundance. It brings about healing of the body, physical body, temple. It brings about healing of relationships and healing of all the affairs in your life. Be there a desire to have your talents more useful in the world through the right and perfect job. That comes forth as you accept that there is a power within you that knows exactly what is right for you to do, where to do it, when to do it, and how to do it, and now it's doing it for you in this time. This is what I know is true. This is what I understand as the workings of the affirmative prayer of science and mind treatment, that we acknowledge, we recognize, we unify, we declare our truth, and I am so grateful for that declaration and for the power of the law that is impartial in its listening, and it only requires one thing, that I believe, and I do. And so, as I do, I release with a deep conviction in the knowing that this stuff works, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to stand in prayer with you on this beautiful day. And it is indeed a beautiful day. And that brings us, oh yes, we have more music from our dear friend, Daniel Nahmad.
Before I sing for you one more song, I want to thank you again, Reverend Stephen, Sherry, everybody in Simi Valley, present, future, and past. It has been a special community for me to visit over these years, and I always think of you fondly and wish you well, and I'm always grateful for the years of support and encouragement and kindness I have received in that building and from your community. One of the most special memories I have in all my years of performing is a concert I gave at your church for your community after the tsunami in Asia left so many dead and so many homeless. All I could think to do was to hold a couple of benefit concerts, and one of them I held at your center, and Ricky Byers came to sing, and several other people came to sing, and it was a long, beautiful evening, and your community contributed thousands and thousands of dollars to an organization called Operation USA, which went straight to Asia to feed and house people who had lost everything in that tragedy. So thank you, years later, for being so kind and supportive of that event and those people halfway around the world. This is a song that I sang that evening, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't sing it for you today. I've joked over the years that I'll stop singing this song when its message is so obvious that it doesn't need to be sung anymore. Current events would tell me that we are not there yet, unfortunately. But when I first sang this in Simi Valley, it was a brand new song. I wrote it around 1999, maybe 2000 at the latest, and it couldn't have been more than a few months before I was able to sing it for you all there, for those of you who were there back then. And if you have never heard it, I hope you enjoy. And if you have heard it, I hope you'll sing along from the comfort of your home. Top of your lungs, bring it on. Thank you again for having me. Please visit, I have a Facebook page with lots of live concerts you're invited to enjoy. Anytime you want, the price is right, free. Daniel Nahmod USA is my Facebook page, and I've been doing all kinds of concerts and workshops and all kinds of things, and you're invited to enjoy anytime. Thank you again. There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord. Call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angel's wings, or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, yeah. One power. We speak so many languages, different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. And we'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit or Jesus or Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem or Heaven's Door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you. One power, one power is what we are. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it's love that's most deep. It's one power. What we are is one. It's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the
I'd like to speak to you for a few minutes today about prosperity, abundance in our lives. When I first came into the center, I was really down. I had a lot of depression. My finances weren't very good. My relationships weren't very good. And then I came into the center and I started learning that it was all up to me. There wasn't anything outside of me that made the difference. So I started praying and I started doing treatments and I started understanding that as soon as I started giving more, not only of myself or my money, my life turned around. People came into my life that helped me. People came into my life that just helped me evolve and grow. I'm so grateful to my teachers. I'm grateful for all of the opportunities that have come in my life because I know they have all been stepping stones to help me move forward and be where I am right now. It's all in your mind. We've heard that story, and it's so hard to believe. But as soon as you turn around and say, I am prosperous, I am full of abundance, I am that wonderful, phenomenal being that is blessed by God. And you start believing it after you say it for a while. And the more you believe it, the more you have in your life. Prosperity and abundance come in all different forms. It could be asked out to lunch or dinner. It could be taken to a movie. It could be just asked by a friend to join them for dinner. Whatever it is, look for it. See it in your life and you'll start to see more. That's what life's all about. We're all prosperous, we're all abundant. And I love you all. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Maggie. This is when we do our prayer for Center for Spiritual Living. This is our affirmative statement of giving. So join me as we say it all together. Say it from the comfort of your own location. Divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for CSL Simi Valley now. Divine love is victorious.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one in the spirit around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I surrender. I'm one in the spirit around me. I surrender. I surrender. I trust in God. I trust in God.
And it's time for the abundance blessing. Let's close our eyes, take a nice deep healing breath. And just right now, feel the abundance that is present within you, within me, within our community, within the world. I know there's a lot going in the world that can cause distress. And, it's important to embrace our feelings around that. And it's really important also to be in gratitude for all that we have. And as we feel that sense of gratitude, just know that it is a magnet that is drawing even more abundance to ourselves individually, to our community, and to the planet as a whole. And so we are grateful for this sacred moment together, to appreciate each other, to appreciate our abundance. And so we turn it over to Spirit, and together we say, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Now we're doing the recap of the service. Reverend Stephen talked about beloved are we. So he said there's an animating spirit in every one of us. We are all a part of the great whole of the beloved community. Community has magic and strength in it. We have a rock-solid power within us, the divine. And at the depth of our very breath is the truth of who we are. When we get quiet and we listen, we hear, beloved are you. When we digest the ideas of truth, then they come alive for ourselves and the community. The external becomes really good when we know our true name. So, the status of being beloved is assured. However, we must participate in remembering, rejoining the community, and continue to expand in order to stay open. Thank you, everybody, for being here today.
Thank you, Johanna. Thank you for the recap. Grateful to all that participated in our service today. Diane Klimczak, Reverend Maggie, Daniel Nahmad, Reverend Patrick Harbula, and of course Johanna with the recap. It's just wonderful to have all of you here and your comments that we go through later today. Just want to make a quick announcement that there will not be a Verge, Opera Verge for today, but we'll see you the next time, but not for today. Let's do our closing benediction, and then Sherry will sing for us. Here you go. I'm at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love.
I